Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Steven here with Team Euphoric, and this is day 19 of the 80 Days to Your Dream Body course. Today's protein source is going to be rabbit, and today is going to be a shoulders and arms training routine. And the theme for today's workout is going to be assisted PNF stretching. So right now, I'm going to be demonstrating some more assisted PNF stretches. Now let's get started. And while we were resting, let's continue with our PNF demonstration in sideline position. During the last rest period, we ended up using the Faber Special Orthopedic Test, which is flexion, abduction, and lateral rotation to stretch the muscles that are responsible for a combination of extension, adduction, and medial rotation. So now, what we're going to be doing is we are going to use the Eadmer test, which is a made-up test that I just made up myself, but it's basically the exact opposite of all the motions that we did during the Faber test. With the Faber test, we went into flexion, abduction, lateral rotation. With the Eadmer test, we are going to be going into extension, adduction, and medial rotation. So for this one, we are specifically going to be stretching the hip flexors, abductors, and the lateral rotators. The way that we would do this, the hand positioning is going to be the same. With your stabilizing hand, you could either go with an underhand or an overhand grip. For me, I like my hand on the sacrum with my fingertips pointing up toward the skull. I don't like to do the underhand because I don't want my middle finger going somewhere where the patient does not want it to go, and this is just a lot safer. And then with the moving hand, same thing. I'm going to just stabilize. I'm going to take the femur, place it in my hand, and then the tibia, I'm going to sandwich it between my bicep and just let it rest in my forearm and my obliques. So I got my stabilizing hand over here with my moving hand. I'm going to just go ahead. I'm going to pinch that in so it stays nice and close. And then for this one, again, this is the Eadmer test. So the Eadmer test, we are going into extension, adduction, medial rotation so that we can stretch the flexors, abductors, and lateral rotators. For this one right over here, once again, we could do a combination just like we did with the Faber. So we could take them into extension and instruct them. Inhale, bring your knee forward. They would inhale, contract, and then on the exhale, we would lean away, come back into more extension. Then for adduction, we could just switch the orientation of our hand so that our hand is up top. We would sink down, inhale, bring your leg up to the sky. They would inhale, go into abduction, and then on the exhale, lean, sink deeper into it. And then for the medial rotation, what we would do is just rotate our body forward. So we're going to get them into medial rotation, and we would instruct them to either inhale, and they could push their knee up into the hand, or they could push their ankle down into your body. Whatever cue works, it's going to do the same thing. So inhale, contract. They would inhale, contract, and then we would exhale. On the exhale, lean and get more into medial rotation to stretch those lateral rotators. Then we could do a combination the same way that we did with the Faber. So we're going to do inhale, bring your knee forward, push your knee up, push your foot into me, and then they would go. And then we would do the opposite. So on the exhale, traction, take them into extension, adduction, medial rotation, all at the same time. This is going to be absolutely terrific if anybody has any restrictions in the sartorius. This is the go-to for the sartorius muscle. So if anybody has any restrictions in the sartorius, do the Eadmer test, which is a completely made-up name. Once again, there's no such thing as the Eadmer test. But some other muscles that we are going to be stretching in this position, we're going to be getting a little bit of the gluteus medius and minimus, specifically the anterior fibers of the gluteus medius and minimus. We're also going to be getting a little bit of the tensor fasciae lati, but with regard to the gluteus medius and minimus, primarily it is going to be responsible, the anterior fibers are going to be responsible for flexion, medial rotation, and abduction. So we're not going to be getting 100% of those muscles, and same with the TFL. The TFL primarily is responsible for flexion, abduction, and medial rotation. So we're not doing any lateral rotation, and that's the one thing that we're going to be missing from the anterior fibers of the gluteus medius and minimus and the tensor fasciae lati. And then we're also going to be getting a little bit of the psoas major. The psoas major, it is not an abductor. However, it does flexion and lateral rotation. So we will be getting a little bit of the psoas major. But overall, this is really the go-to for the sartorius muscle. So if anybody has restrictions in the sartorius, this is the one, Eadmer. But rest period is up. Time for set number 5. That was just a tiny taste of what can be found in my members only section. If you enjoyed it, become a member for only $5 a month to get access to hundreds of member only videos.